Happy birthday to me! I'm so alone. What's good, my fellow peasants? Aye, it's my birthday, it's my birthday. Can't believe I'm 17. Can't believe I'm 17. I'm there at last, guys. One more year and I can drink alcohol. But how you doing? So today I want to celebrate, of course, by doing a remake video. Why wouldn't I do an FF7 remake video? It's my favourite topic to cover. I'm going to get into the ultra juicy details that Kitase has been dropping all over the show about the size of the remake, about the news in regards to it being in Midgar, and he's done a lot more extensive interviews giving us much juice to go off of. But before I start the video, I'm just gonna first throw out there that one of the first videos I ever started on this channel was utterly defending the notion of this needing to be multiple parts. I really thought long and hard about it. It was a terrible quality video, don't try to go back and watch it. And how doing a text-based, descaled game in today's graphics, voice acting, size, scale was just infinitely larger than anyone was thinking. And I remember doing that video and starting the channel because I was so frustrated with how people weren't seeing that, and that they were just calling it a greedy cash grab, and that, you know, that Square Enix could fit it all into one game. They were just choosing not to. Utterly ridiculous. The scale is just too crazy. And in fact, Kitase, even from day one, before the remake was even a thing, he even knew that himself. So when he was contemplating it, he put, if I was to ever take it on, the FF7 Remake, it would have to be the biggest project I've ever done, my life's work. So I would have to be highly motivated as that to end up with something I'm very happy with. It's a huge thing for me and a huge project. Now that really hasn't changed. Coming into some of the latest interviews, he really is stressing how huge it is. So telling a deeper story and providing a modern gaming experience, we really want to go above and beyond what is expected of a remake, and to do so it is a monumentous task. While many people think that Midgar is very dark, well, this is a different quote, but I'll throw it in, a very dark place at first glance, we have a design aesthetic where the city has strong elements of colour and variety. While the development team finished the first game in the project, we'll continue to outline the overall volume of the content for the second episode. So it's a huge volume of work and data to imagine this world. Each game in the project will have a volume of content comparable to a standalone Final Fantasy. So there's that quote back again. We knew this, or we heard it be compared to the 13 trilogy way back when. So it's good to see that still returning. So I get it. I get the size of it. And I've been an avid supporter and defender of this multi-part release format. Episodic is a terrible word, that's why I'm just not going to use it. But now I'm going to kind of backtrack on that and say that even as someone who really saw that this was what they'd have to do, especially if they want it to be fresh, ingenuitive, to explore things that hadn't been explored before, and I'm so excited to see things like Avalanche. They're going to get fleshed out more, to see new story elements, to keep it fresh. Even Kitase said, as we're going to be working on this so long, they need to keep it fresh for themselves, because if they're just going to do a copy and pasta, they're going to get bored. So yeah, basically we may be finishing this in the 22nd century. And while, you know, that's awesome that we're going to have so much content, and I love 7 Remake and it can really not get bored or old, I do now have concerns, because I was shocked to see that it was going to be only Midgar. Part 1 only Midgar. 2 Blu-ray discs just for the big pizza city alone. Now I know that there are a lot of sectors that weren't explored, there's a lot of things to be fleshed out, a lot of story elements and nuances that were kind of alluded to but not explored in the original. And I think they're going that way, with Sephiroth being a menace over Midgar. Night Sky Prince caught a really cool detail, because the black smoky things that are harassing Aerith in the trailer, I kind of thought, is that Sephiroth, because the steelbook also had it kind of like floating around him. Is it Genova? You know, because is Sephiroth, well, his body's over in the northern crater, so is this just Genova form? He found a throwback to originally the concept of the failed clones, so the Sephiroth clones. That they were originally going to be like these flying, cloaked, hooded, shadowy things. So I think they're bringing that concept back out. So that's cool, new things to explore. But really, guys, Midgar, I've been saying like 8 to 10% of the game. No, we could push it up to 20% because the only reason I said it was around about 10% is when you look at this game in a completionist format. So no, all the other places, all the other islands, and like the ancient forest and all the things that we can do on the side. When you do a completionist run, Midgar's only about 10% of the game. If you're just doing a story lope, then it's about 20%. But either way, 10 or 20% is all that Midgar really is. And in terms of locations, it's even less. Because that's the thing, I'm worried because if they're only realistically covering 1/10 to 1/5 of Final Fantasy VII in Midgar, then how many parts is this going to be? Is this going to be a 5-parter? I mean, how long are the gaps in between that going to be? And there's even been some sort of contention on that, while the latest news from Kitase is saying that while the development team finish the first game in the project, we are continuing to plan and outline the overall volume of the content for the second, and that development of the second game they expect to be more efficient. We do have our own internal schedule and plan, but for now we just like to focus on the information of the first game in the project. So that's one side of what he's been saying, Kitase, that they know and they've got a plan and it won't take longer. But we have also weirdly heard sometimes that he said they don't expect development to be quicker. And that was one thing he said, and that threw a lot of people off. And then a PR person from Square Enix had to come in and say, oh no, we do. Well, we do know. And then on the flip side, he's saying so like we are continuing to plan and outline the second, and we've got an idea of it. But then Kitase has also said in another quote that we don't know. That we don't know how many parts this is going to be, that we're just focusing on the first part. We ain't even started thinking about the second part, and that they just don't know. He was quite frank about that they just don't know how many parts this is going to be or how long. So crazy. I don't know whether they do know or they don't know, but either way, it is going to be huge and it's going to take a long time. And of course, that is want enough to be concerned, because if it does take a year between each part and it is going to be a 5-parter, which logically based on the percentages of the game it has to be, then we're going to be dealing with like a 5, maybe even up to 8-year long project. I can't even imagine it getting out in between each year, because here's the thing, they're just working on Midgar, and while Midgar has a lot of variety, and I've kind of done a breakdown of locations I like to flow through with you guys. So while Midgar is within itself one city, of course it's massive compared to all the others, so you can't really compare it. So I said that Midgar itself is 10 locations in Final Fantasy VII. That's 10 key, not completely differently designed areas. A lot of them have similarities and similar assets, and that's why I think Midgar is going to be quite a lot easier to build. Of course, in those 10 locations, one of those locations is Shinra headquarters, which is of course huge. So that is a whole, that's probably like 4 or 5 locations within itself. And they're just working on that in this part. I'm failing then to see if they're just focusing on it now and they're only outlining the parts that come March 2020, just before they'll probably start. How they're going to start then cramming in the other 54 locations. So in total there's like 64 different, very uniquely designed towns and areas and regions and cities and hovels in Final Fantasy VII Remake. So Midgar is, once again, it's about a 6th, sorry. It's 1/6 of the variety of locations. So there's going to be a hell of a lot for them to design, and of course with the size and scale and detail of this, and that's just locations. we're not even getting on to overworld map, or in this case open world. We're not even talking about the rest of the world, the continents, the traversing between towns, the mountains, the ranges, what we're going to encounter on that. This is really a small amount of work that they are actually putting out in this first part, and that's why it is baffling to me how they're going to be getting the other. Realistically, I wouldn't even say it's 80% of the rest of the game. I'd say it's more close to 85-90%. Again, I know the completionist thing is a bit off, because I suppose now every episode is going to have a lot more side content. It's going to have a reformatting. It's going to have its story pacing changed out. There's going to want to be some post-game stuff, of course. We're now going to want to experience significant bosses at the end of every fight. We're not going to want to be fighting old Senor Razor Wheels. We're not going to be want to taking that on as the last boss. That would be so damn anticlimactic. So I don't know what the hell Square Enix are doing, and as much I'm excited to see that this project is going to be that big, that it's going to have this much volume, I'm also still going to have that healthy amount of cynicism, which is healthy to have with Square Enix, which is when I did the video before the remake released saying, are they just rushing it out? Because Square Enix have had some wet, soggy fart of fiscal years of late. They've had a lot of letdowns in some of their games. They've underperformed. They've made shareholders promises that they've kind of already had to start pushing back and moving into other fiscal quarters after making the promise. And again, there were some frustrations from some of their shareholders about that. And I said, are they going to start looking to the VII Remake to try to squeeze it out, get that project out? This was why they was doing all the mass recruitment. This is why we were seeing the thing really pushed through the door. Are they now thinking, oh, okay, well, let's just get Midgar. Let's get Midgar. And then once we've got it out, kept the company afloat, kept it on track, don't lose shareholder confidence, we'll then regroup, replan, reorganize, and see what we're going to do for the other parts. And I think that if that's the case, and based on what Kitase said at some points, they've not really started thinking about the other parts and they don't know, I think that it could really hit them like a wall in the face how much content they've got left to do. And then are we going to start seeing the content start getting skimpily done? Are we going to start seeing or really long delays in that case? Like, will it then be 2 years to get the next part? And they'll be like, oh Jesus, I'm sorry, we didn't know how long it's going to take. Or are they really going to be full games? What is even a full game to Square Enix in the AAA era? Is it actually a 40 to 50 hour experience, or is it a 25 to 30? Will we start seeing skimpily done, cut, skimmed over locations, because they didn't really have direction with the volume of work? And this is a healthy amount of cynicism to have, because Square Enix's project planning, their road mapping of these projects, they always they are renowned for severely underestimating their projects and them taking much longer, much more expensive, and then shortcuts having to be made at a later date. But fuck that. Screw that mindset. It's my birthday. I get to be a happy, optimistical, magical unicorn. And I'm just going to hope that everything is going well. That Square Enix do have some sort of handle on it. I'm just going to say it's also very interesting how I'm always mentioning Kitase. He's the one at E3. He's the one. I know Nomura did make an appearance, but Kitase is the one who's standing in front of the awards. He's the one who's given all the project information, all of the interviews, all of the news. And I just knew this from day one. I've been saying for such a long time that I just can guarantee that Kitase is the dude who's doing pretty much all the work. That Nomura, while I'm sure he's having his creative input, that he ain't the director. And we were seeing rumours and information come out before that some supposed staff were saying Nomura is just director in name alone. He's barely ever there. He was so busy with Kingdom Hearts 3. And I just get this sense that even when I saw Nomura at E3, he doesn't seem like that involved. He doesn't seem like the lead guy. It does feel like it is Kitase. And I've got to say that that's why I feel better about all of this healthy cynicism I'm flowing out. That while it's in the hands of Kitase, in him we trust. In him salvation can be found. because this guy knows how to meet lead times. He knows the product of FF7 better than anyone. He has a lot of love and adoration amongst the staff. He knows how to motivate them. He's just a really, really positive, productive force at Square Enix, and he has delivered on so many occasions that I place my trust in you, Kitase. If anyone can have it, it would be you. If Nomura was really the lead guy and all of this was coming out, I'd be shitting pants. I would be shitting pants. Love you, Nomura. Best creative director going out there. But if you was the project lead and the timetable dude, yeah, I'd have a soggy pair of britches right now. But there we go, guys. Thank you for watching me on another video. Comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about all of the first part being in Midgar. Does that excite you? Does that concern you? Just let me know. Do that next video. And by the way, press the bell and the notification button so that I can buzz into your existence every now and then. You'll be like, ooh, Final Fantasy stuff. Yay, it's Pears. I love that guy, that cheeky little chatty. Thank you. Kubo!